My full name is Vincent Joseph O'Brien, known throughout the Air Force by the nickname Dinny. My first posting was to Parkes, New South Wales, number 802U. We operated Spitfires, Mark 5s and 8s, Kitty Hawks and Boomerangs. It was a full-on war. We did a lot of, repaired a lot of the holes, a temporary measure by putting fabric and dope on them, because it was in a non-stressed area and it wasn't a structural thing. And then when we had time, or when it was due for the next servicing, we'd fly them back to Japan for servicing, and the aircraft metalworkers would put a patch on them. We had one whereby in a low-level strafing run, the pilot got a bit carried away at the target and pulled up late and took the outer wingtip off on a pine tree, and a branch pierced his radiator. Naturally, the coolant, the glycol, started to leak out and the engine temperature started to rise, which he was monitoring. He could fly it with some difficulty because it had taken off half the aileron as well. Then the temperature gauge stopped rising, and it turns out when he made it back to base, this piece of this pine tree that pierced the radiator was dead wood, and as it got wet, it expanded, it swelled up and fixed the leak to get him back. We worked in the open in temperatures down as low between minus 30, in excess of minus 30, and with the wind blowing in off the Siberian high country and stuff, it was. We were poorly dressed. The Air Force didn't give us any extra clothing or any cold weather clothing. Fortunately, because we were part of the American 5th Air Force, they dressed us. We were issued with a pile-lined cap, a Russian type thing, where they had big ear flaps. We had a jacket that was sort of a vinyl warm thing, and then we had an outer nylon jacket with a hood. We had nylon pants, we had combat boots, and we also had these big rubber boots that were called snowpacks. And we got 2 pair of ski socks and 2 pair of gloves. One pair was wool for warmth and the other was leather to protect the wool from being wet in the snow and working, and to stop the... It wasn't unusual if you were doing a job in a confined space, such as, well, from an airframe fitter's point of view, changing a radiator, and you'd reach in a very small space to do up the Jubilee clips on the hoses, that you'd have to take your gloves off, and without thinking you'd reach and pick up a tool and it would stick to your hand, so you'd run into the flight line tent where we had a brazier burning all the time in a 44-gallon drum, and the timber was mainly from rocket boxes, and hold your hand over until it melted off.